All right, it's 5:30, so why don't we call this meeting to order. Jordan, would you start us off with the roll call?
Please respond by stating present. Councilmember Ronayne.
Present.
Foberg.
Present.
Liebelt.
Present.
Ward.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Econger.
Present.
Nilsson.
Present.
Norvstrup.
Present.
Mayor Shoneman.
Present, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, the first order of business will be to approve this week's agenda. I'm not certain of any changes, so I would just take a motion to approve as is.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Councilman Johnson, second from Councilman Ward. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval of our minutes from the last week's meeting, which took place on February 17th. Take a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion Econger, second Nilsson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got our consent calendar where we've got 4 items of routine city business, and we do have a proclamation I'm going to go ahead and read because we've got some special guests in the audience. So this is an official proclamation of the city of Aberdeen, whereas Sandy Sullivan was a devoted wife to George, loving mother to Julie, cherished mother-in-law to Brian, and proud grandmother to EP and Phil, whereas Sandy Sullivan generously gave her time, talents, and numerous Aberdeen organizations, including the Community Theater, JC's, Snow Queen Festival, South Dakota Film and Food Festivals, the Fishguard Short Film Project, Glacial Lakes Chili Cook-Off, and the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, whereas Sandy Sullivan served as the heart of the South Dakota Food and Film Festival catering crew, tirelessly preparing meals for guests from around the world and faithfully doing unseen work that made every event possible, and whereas Sandy Sullivan exemplified humble service by rolling up her sleeves, showing up at every season, and bringing joy, style, and generosity in even the most ordinary tasks. And whereas Sandy Sullivan was known for her love of auctions, unique chairs, snowmen collected through decades of service, and for her generous spirit that carried her across Europe, New York, subways, and bus tours throughout the Great Plains. And whereas Sandy Sullivan made Aberdeen stronger by making people feel welcomed, valued, and loved, I, Travis Schoenman, Mayor of the city, do hereby proclaim February 28th as Sandy Sullivan Day. On this day, the community will honor her life by serving with joy, giving generously, and continuing the spirit of kindness she so beautifully embodied. So, George, appreciate you and Julie being here today, and I'll pass this through to the end of the row.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, second Councilman Ward.
We sound alike.
Oh, that wasn't you? Oh,
It was me.
I was just hearing noises
Twas
over there. Councilwoman Fulberg had the motion. Sorry about that. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next, we've got our old business, the first item of which is a second reading of an ordinance titled Amending Landscape Regulations to Permit Artificial Turf. It's something that we had discussed at length last week. Ron, are there any changes to this?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, any input that we've received from anyone in the community?
No.
Move to approve.
Third.
Okay, we've got a motion from Councilman Ward, second Councilman Nilsson. Any further discussion to be had on this topic before we take the vote for our second reading then? Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Nilsson.
Aye.
Norvstrup. Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, that motion carries. Next is a possible second reading of ordinance regarding private ambulance services. Dave, you'd walked us through a little bit of that last week. Any changes there?
There are no changes at this time.
Any reason not to pass this thing from the city's vantage point?
No, we believe this is a good ordinance, deregulates a little bit, updates the ordinance, and again, falls in line with the 2024 state law regarding ambulance and EMT licensing by the South Dakota Department of Health. So it's a streamless process, and we recommend approval.
All right, would someone in the council care to make a motion on the second reading of that ambulance update ordinance?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, got a motion, Econger, second ward. Any discussion to be had? We talked about it a little bit last week. It's going to make things a little bit easier for our private ambulance service here in town. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote on the second and final reading?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Nilsson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible second reading, final adoption of an ordinance which approves sewer system improvements and authorizes the issuance of a clean water revolving fund revenue bond. Jordan?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, this is a $30 million 30-year loan at 3.75%. 110% debt coverage would put an SRF surcharge at $16.05. That will be approved by the next ordinance up for consideration. There are no changes to this ordinance since first reading, and staff recommends approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Liebelt, second Econger. Any questions? All right, spinning right along. I'll take have Jordan, if you give us a roll call vote then on that second reading.
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Nilsson.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got a possible second reading and final adoption of the ordinance that Jordan hinted at, which establishes a higher sewer surcharge to pay for that SRF loan. Jordan, $16.
That's correct, Mayor. It's baked into the rate study that was presented to council and received last fall. Staff recommends approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ward and a second from Councilman Econger. Jordan, would you give us a roll call on a final item of old business for the evening here?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Nilsson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson, Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, that motion carries. Next, we've got a first item of new business here tonight is public hearing on a one-day on-sale liquor license for the Boys Club event Wine Fest, which will take place at their location on March 28th. Doesn't look like anyone's here to speak for or against that, so I would take a motion from the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Fauberg, second Nilsson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a public hearing and a possible approval of a transfer of an on-sale malt beverage and wine license from Wallar Incorporated, doing business as Palm Garden Thai, to Mayan Tun Ong. I'm trying to do the best I can with that one. That's phonetically how it appears. Doing business as Palm Garden Thai Cuisine. I expect it's just a matter of change of hands like it was last time that we transferred for those guys. Hope that these new guys have some success over there. I take a motion to transfer their existing malt beverage and wine license.
Moved.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Councilman Ward. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is a possible first reading of a resolution which accepts the dedication of certain public improvements in the Dakota Estates subdivision. Not sure who's got the details on that one. I didn't jot that one down.
I can
Oh,
take
go
that,
ahead, Stu.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So this subdivision is in an area north of Fairgrounds Road, east of Dakota Street. It's there's some 55 plus living there, and some part of the Dakota Estates apartment buildings there. And in conjunction with that, there were some streets, water and sewer, storm sewer installed, and they have reached their warranty period, and we've reviewed all of the information and have determined that they are acceptable for us to bring into our system. So staff is recommending that we move forward with that acceptance right now.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Johnson. And Stu, I know that at one point in the back, in history, we had, in one of these TIFs, not accepted that property because it wasn't up to our standards. We had went and done a physical inspection.
That's correct.
Okay, we're feeling pretty good about
Yes.
this infrastructure. All right, that sounds good. I appreciate you having done that legwork for us. If there's no further questions from the council, Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Nilsson,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a public hearing and a possible approval of a first reading of an ordinance titled 260203. That is a petition to rezone from R3 to M, property located at 3304 Harrison Street at the Happy Second North subdivision in, okay, yep. So, Ken, would you walk us through that rezone?
Thank you, Mayor. The city is petitioning to rezone this property, as you described in the Happy North subdivision, to permit its use as a city park and water retention pond that will serve the Happy North subdivision area. Staff recommends approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ward, second Councilman Ronayne. Ken, do we have a timeline on the plans for those, that park investment, to your knowledge?
I am not sure with the park, and Stu might be able to speak to the holding pond.
So the holding pond needs a little bit of work yet, so we have not, and Happy has not petitioned us to accept those improvements at this time, so we'll work with Happy and get there's a little bit of slope stabilization that needs to be done there, and I believe they built a road. There was a road that was required to get back to our lift station. I think that's been completed.
But they're gonna take care of the work.
But yes, they're taking care of that. And then once those improvements are completed, then they'll probably file a petition to get us to accept those improvements as well.
All right, thanks for that clarification.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
is the star on the map where the holding pond's gonna be?
That's about where it's at there. That and kind of to the south and east of that.
Where it looks like it's
Yeah.
lower?
Yeah,
Yep.
the next image, yeah.
And then, can I ask another question?
Please.
Are you looking at potentially some different vegetation around there so we don't have to mow all the way down to the?
That's part of why there's quite a bit of erosion that's happened on the south and west banks of that holding pond. That needs to be restored before they can get in there and do some seeding and get some kind of more appropriate grass in there that's easily maintainable.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote on that first reading then for that rezone?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Nilsson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, that motion carries. Next, public hearing and possible approval of an ordinance titled 260204, which is also a public petition to rezone from R2 to M, which is located at 2006 Lawson Street, described as Lot 2, second replat of South Haven, first addition to the city of Aberdeen. Ken, walk us through that rezone if you would, please.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. This is a similar request to rezone the property in the Happy Central subdivision for its use as a city park. Staff recommends approval.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Ward. Any questions on this one? All right, Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Nilsson,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, that motion carries as well. Next, we've got a public hearing and possible approval of a first reading of an ordinance 260205, which is a petition to rezone I-1 to M, property at 4406 8th Avenue Northeast at the Water Tower addition of the city of Aberdeen. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and imagine that has to do with the new water tower, Ken?
That is correct. This is rezoning the new northeast water tower to the appropriate zoning designation. Staff recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Liebelt. Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, that motion carries. Next, we've got a permission to install a super graphic in a central business zoning district. Ken, it looks like it's a graphic that already exists.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 murals were previously applied to this building without the prior consent of the necessary prior consent of the city council. The murals are purely artistic in nature and do not directly advertise any commercial use. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this request with the condition that the 2 super graphic signs are maintained in accordance with section 60-341 of the Aberdeen City Code. Staff
Move to
recommend-
approve.
Second.
Motion Liebelt, second Nilsson. Any discussion to be had on approving these existing signs? Had everyone seen all those things? They're kind of hidden, tucked away behind a building over there. So maybe not the busiest of all streets, but kind of interesting artistic graphics. Jordan, would you give us, or actually that's probably one we could just do with a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. That one carries as well. Next, we've got a possible authorization for the city manager to sign a consent form for the Department of Ag and Natural Resources, or DANR, for the Brownsfield Grant Assessment of City-Owned Facilities. Amber, welcome to the meeting. We've been talking a lot about Brownsfield recently. What are you up to?
Yes, we have. Mr. Mayor and member of City Council, tonight I would like to say that city staff have identified the need to conduct comprehensive assessment of 3 properties: the Civic Arena, the Washington Building, and the Civic Theater property, currently owned by the city. The purpose of this evaluation is to identify potential liabilities and determine whether any environmental or structural abatement costs may qualify for the full or partial funding through South Dakota DANR program. The DANR Brownfields program currently has assessment funds available, and we have done programming like this in the past. A great example would be the Kaoli Library. So it is something that has been done by city staff in the past, and I think we're in a unique position with myself as economic development where I can oversee these projects. And the nice thing is that our representative through DANR actually is the one who submits the forms, works on the project, and I simply act as a coordinator and make sure that all of the timing and when they can come and everything works. So we have been in contact with the representative from DANR for over 1.5 years, and I think this is a great way for our city staff to look at property maintenance in the buildings and facilities we have for future redevelopment. Any questions?
Amber, there's no danger that our Civic Arena will be torn down as a result of this activity, is there?
No, Mr. Mayor. This will just do an assessment, which includes gathering background information for potential recognized environmental concerns. We've done this before. There's actually a study out there, but the studies generally only last for 5 years. So it's time for us to update our current studies.
I knew the answer to that, but I get those type of questions every time we do
Oh,
this
throw
sort of a
them at
thing,
me.
so I wanted
I'm
to
ready.
be sure that that was addressed.
I'll move to approve and hope that you have good luck with approval on the grant.
Thank you.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ward and a second from Councilman Econger. Does anyone else in the council have any questions about this application process or these projects in particular?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilwoman?
Amber, do they look at each of the 3 buildings separately, or is it one study?
They will look at each separately, but as one study. Actually Macy Jo, our representative, is the one who urged us to look at the Civic Arena and the theater since there would be representatives here. So they will go through each building, but give us a report as one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, we've got our
Just for
motion.
fun, I want to say staff recommends approval.
Ha! That's
Just myself.
copy and paste. All right, well, given that the staff recommends it, I suppose we'll get right on that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks for joining us, Amber. Thanks, Destin, if that's what you're here for
Thank
as
you.
well. Next, we've got a possible approval of the 2026 seal coat aggregates. Stu, walk us through that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So these are the the aggregates, just like it says, that we use for chip sealing. We buy a couple different kinds of rock, and if you look at the bid tab, you can see that our prices are pretty close to last year, just slightly over the way it looks. But everything appears in order, and I would recommend approval of these bids.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion from Councilman Johnson, second from Councilman Nielsen. Any questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, the approval of the asphaltic concrete and surfacing repair mix bid. Stu?
Thank you, Bear. So here again, this is the material that we use to do patching on the streets during our construction season, and we've basically got prices that are exactly the same as last year from Leans and Jensen's, and we use both of those suppliers. And then for our 3/8 repair mix, which is a little bit finer asphalt that we are getting from Dunnick Brothers out of Minnesota. They have a plant in, I believe, Watertown that would deliver this material to us. So we recommend approval of these bids as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronan and a second from Councilman Ward. Any questions on this bid? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Possible approval is next of the 2026 road oil bid. Stu, you're on a roll.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the oil that we use to that we put down before we put the rocks on top of it for our chip seal project. And here again, prices are very similar to last year's prices. We've used Jebro many times over the last, say, 15 or 20 years, and they do a great job for us. So we are recommending approval on these bids as well.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Econger. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries as well. Next, possible approval of a bid by CWF Concrete Masonry for $139,057.80 for our project labeled 20261, which is our annual concrete work. It looks like Destin is prepared to walk us through that bidding process. Destin.
Yes, this is our annual concrete project from concrete panels, sidewalk, all sorts of things. We got 2 bids for it. Both of them look pretty competitive, and we recommend the low bid by CWF Concrete, who has done this project in the past.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Liebelt, second Ward. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Next, possible approval of the bid by also CWF Masonry, $171,922.28 for the accessible sidewalk quadrant improvements. Destin?
Yep, this project is our corner ramp project for ADA purposes. We got 3 bids on this project. Prices are very competitive again. CWF Concrete has done this project in the past, and we recommend accepting their bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ward. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Possible approval next. Wright and Sudlow, a bid in the amount of $238,351, and that is for street maintenance concrete repair.
Yep, this project is our curb and gutter repair that we do ahead of our chip seal program. Wright and Solo was the low bidder. We got 2 bids. Bids were competitive, and Wright and Solo has done this project before. We recommend accepting their bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ward, second Knobstrup. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Possible approval next of the recommendation. Thanks. Oh, is it, you're still up? So recommendation of bids for the water treatment plant pipe gallery valve replacement project.
I think I'll take that one.
Okay,
Mayor.
so
Thank
he
you.
hadn't sat down, so I thought maybe he was queued up for that one as well. Stu?
So this, we just bid a project to do the decking in this area to, kind of in preparation for this project. And this is the area underneath our, all of our filters, and we're replacing all the valves and all the controls in that area. There's some stuff that is original to the construction of that building, which is the old building, which is 1934. So we've gotten a good service life out of some of these pieces of equipment, but we're just really trying to head off any problems before they happen and make sure that we can keep all of our filters in operation. So we got a really good bid from this company from Minnesota, Hydrotech, and we recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ecager, second Johnson. Any questions? Project of the bid? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Possible approval of a bid by Reedy Construction in the amount of $2,636,134.75 for our North Dakota Street reconstruction. Glad to see this one moving forward. Destin, how the bidding process go for us?
Yeah, this is why I stayed standing. This is our street reconstruction project. Dakota Street north of Fairgrounds Road is going to be built into an urban section with storm sewer and bike trail. We got 2 bids for it. Prices are competitive. Reedy Construction, the low bidder we recommend, did the last section of Dakota Street. A very similar job, so we recommend accepting their bid.
Move to approve.
Got a motion, Ward, second. Knopfstrup, what is the total length of this section of street?
It's a little less than 3/4 of a mile.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead,
Does
Councilwoman.
it go from Fairgrounds then up to basically where you go west
Up
into
to
the,
Nano-Nagel, roughly 100, 200 feet past north of Nano-Nagel Avenue.
It's the very far north avenue going into Happy.
that's great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Could I add something? I just want the council to know that this project is actually green lighted by the Boundary Line Highway Agreement that we entered into with the county last summer. That took a while to do that, but once we had it laid out as to who would be charged for maintaining the highway, this particular piece of road, it allowed us to move forward with this kind of a project. So those things that don't seem to make a lot of difference, they can end up making a lot of difference when we're able to work cooperatively with the county or with other highway authorities and work through these things.
Yeah, I would like to echo that, and also to thank our partners over at the county. It's been refreshing to have a positive relationship with those guys and to be moving some of these long-standing projects forward. And I know a lot of the residents up there have been very interested in that bike trail addition, so they'll be happy to see that coming to fruition this summer. That road has been in dreadful condition for quite some time.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
is this gonna get done this summer then?
Yes.
This is life-changing. Thank you for doing this. And thanks for figuring it out.
Yeah, it was about like the surface of the moon there for a bit, and we've got a asphalt patching right now that's made it
Because it's got
substantially
so many
better.
kids
Now it'll be good.
walking there.
What's that?
You got so many kids walking there. It's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks for joining us, Destin. Appreciate your input on those 4 items. Next, we have the review and approval of our claims and payroll. Bills, February 23rd week. The pay period for our payroll is the 8th of February through the 21st.
I move to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion, Liebelt, second Ward. Jordan, would you give us a roll call for these claims and payroll?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
I accept the service charge to Dakota Bank.
Councilmember Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Nilsson,
I with abstention on the payment to Banner Associates.
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
I will abstain to the payment to Climate Control and Sewer Dock. Otherwise, I am an aye, and the motion does carry. Next, we've got our city manager's report. Dave, a little bit about snow removal.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. So to begin, I want to extend some thanks. Obviously, last week when we sat here, we didn't realize that the next day when we would wake up, we would be in a blizzard warning. But needless to say, when unanticipated things like that happen, we pride ourselves in being prepared and having a great city team that can respond to any challenge. So right out of the gate, things changed for our workday that morning. Our water treatment plant up north, we had plant staff that were there that had to stay an extended period of time because other plant staff couldn't make it to the plant that day. So starting from the north part of Aberdeen and working its way down was just a team effort. Our first responders had a lot of calls for service, a lot of stranded vehicles. Our fire department were going out on rescue calls and really getting stuck in certain places in public works. Their staff kind of saved the day in many different fashions by getting out and plowing ways and pulling some of our first responder vehicles out of the snow. So they just kind of kept the city going and kept our emergency services going. So they did a great job there. Our towing agencies, really stepped up in the community. They responded to many different calls for service for stranded motorists and assisting us on accidents and different things. So really appreciative there. Our public works staff put in some long hours with the snow removal process. So not only did the first phase, just kind of getting through the blizzard, but planning for that snow removal process and just putting in those extreme hours. So the whole city team in general did a great job. Unfortunately, we had the accident with the ambulance. They were responding to an emergency call in Groton. The weather conditions were white out at times. And we're just blessed that, nobody was seriously hurt. All the workers are back to work. We can replace an ambulance, but we can't replace the workers. So we just want to say thanks to our first responders and ambulance crew for being out there, putting themselves on the line. The update with the ambulance, right now, we're exploring all different options. We're looking at replacing the ambulance maybe by putting another chassis on its capsule. I don't know. I haven't heard from Joel an update on that, all the way to looking at providing a new ambulance. And we know from last week's approval on the ambulance that it can take 2 to 3 years. So I'm hoping that we're able to maybe find a chassis and we can kind of rebuild the one that we lost in the accident. Again, we can repair the ambulance, but we can't replace the people. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. And then our pivot to our snow removal process. Well, I will say in general, I'm proud of the people and the long hours they put in. There's always opportunities where we can do better. So I'll talk about 2 major areas that we receive feedback, and Stu and I can kind of speak to that. The first area that I'd like to talk about is the downtown area. We prioritize and think every aspect and every alley, every entrance is important in Aberdeen. But when we met before we decided to do snow removal, kind of our pre-operational meeting, we discussed that it would be important that we would maybe do the downtown at the very end of our process, because we realized that there was a lot of snow in a lot of different places on the sidewalks in front of our businesses. And we thought that if we waited to the end of our process, that would allow the business people time to kind of scoop out and shovel out and be able to push that snow, so we didn't have to come back and do a snow removal process twice in the downtown area. If you can kind of recall with some of the pictures, or maybe you traveled the downtown area yourself, you'd realize that some places had 5 and 6 foot drifts. And Stu and I are just our kind of drive-through assessment of the downtown area. We realized that probably 30 to 40, maybe 50% of our businesses still had quite a bit of snow in front of it. So I just want to say to the downtown area and the shoppers and vendors, we appreciate you. We prioritize the downtown. We take pride in trying to get the snow out of there as soon as possible, but we thought it would be to the advantage of the business owners to have a little bit more extra time to get that snow out of there and then not have to come back and have a redundant process. So that's kind of the first area we can talk about. The second area, when we were going through our process, we had a couple different setbacks, and Stu can talk a little bit about it, but unfortunately, we had our blades and our plows going through a couple school zones at the time there were dismissals, and we never want that to happen. So one instance in particular, we had our blade going through the Simmons school corridor while the school was recessing, and we don't like having our snow removal equipment and plows near children as they're released from school. So we're going to make sure that never happens again. There are a couple different things that cause that, but I just want to tell the public that we realize, and we heard your voice, that, hey, that was an inconvenience and a potentially, thing that could cause some serious problems. So we've reflected on that, and we'll continue to brief on the snow removal process. After Stu talks a little bit, we'll stand by for questions and suggestions from you. Maybe you had some feedback from different points of the community on how we could do better. With that, Stu, what do you think?
Dave, you did a pretty good job of explaining everything. I don't know that there's much I can add to explain the situation any better, other than this was a very difficult snow, wind-driven as hard as it was, 60-mile-an-hour plus gusts. And then to start the snow, we actually had rain, and then very warm ground temperatures because of the fact that it was fall spring basically, and so we had a layer of ice underneath the snow, which made it very difficult to move. It takes a lot more effort with our equipment, and also wears out our cutting edges on our blades a lot quicker, which then requires more maintenance on those blades. So we were not moving as fast as we would normally do on a light, fluffy, kind of a regular snow that you would expect this time of year. And that's really what put us into that, the spot over at Simmons. And rest assured, we learned a lesson there, and we understand that was a very unfortunate situation, and we'll take steps to make sure that doesn't happen in the future.
Yeah, thank you. So that's by and large, my report for this week. And did anybody else have any feedback on the snow removal process? Or I know that we received some feedback on the potential for snow gates, and that, being in my new role as city manager, I know that's a discussion that's come up over the years in talking to Stu and Jeremy and Mayor. Maybe there'll be an opportunity in the future for us to purchase a set of snow gates and experiment with that, and see how that result can pan out in our community over a year or two, and come back and report how effective that is. I'm still talking to Public Works employees, getting their opinions and thoughts on it. I know previously our city manager, Ron Bobzien, had done some significant research on it and found sometimes it can really work. I think sometimes, Stu, correct me if I'm wrong, the ideal snow for a snow gate is maybe 4 inches. In this particular snow, maybe it wouldn't have had the impact that one would expect. But I just want to let the community know that we're open to that if we can fit it into the budget and it's responsible, and we can find an opportunity to possibly purchase equipment like that and experiment with it and report back to the community. I'm not opposed to looking at that in the future, but it would be a slow approach and kind of looking at and evaluating how effective it is in the future. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Stu.
The only thing I would add to that is, the addition of snow gates would change our snow removal operation. It would extend it out farther. It would increase costs. And so I think the important takeaway is not that, we're just vehemently opposed to these. We just want people to understand that it's going to change the way our snow removal looks. It's not going to be done as quickly as it is now. And it's not always going to work. I mean, you're going to have snow in people's driveways. If the expectation is that it's 100% going to cure no snow in the driveway every time, that's just simply not going to happen. So, people would need to temper their expectations on how that would work. But certainly not, obviously there's many, many communities in South Dakota that use them. And so that's just all I want the council to be aware of, is that it would change how things operate for us.
So next snow season, Stu, you'll be retired from this position. Does it seem like you'll maybe be a potential operator for the trial run of the Snowgate?
I don't think you would want me anywhere near that blade operating it. So I would generate way more complaints than I would kudos. So
fair enough. Well, if there's nothing else from the council, I'd take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
A motion Johnson, second Ward. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.